Hi guys, my name's David, my channel is Premium Blu-rays and I am extremely excited. Nothing to do with Christmas, even though I've got my Christmas jumper, Christmas tree, my favourite Christmas movie in the background. No. I'm excited because I've seen some quality films this week. I've been going through my end of year watch list, which is films made 2019, 2020. They've been released this year on physical media or streaming, to see if they got a chance of getting into my top 10 or top 20, whatever I'm going to do next week. Still got a couple more films to watch that might just make it. And to be honest, of the films that I watched this week, only one has made it into the top 10, but still some great films. I saw a film from Iceland, from Poland, from Korea, obviously, from Australia, America. So international flavour this week, guys, and I hope you really enjoy the films that I'm going to be recommending to you. Okay, so this film didn't make it into my top films of the year, but it came pretty darn close, to be honest. It's a film called A Time to Hunt, a Netflix movie, well, not on Netflix, I watched it on Netflix, from this year, 2020, directed by Yoon Sung-hwan. And he did Bleak Night back in 2010 and Boys in 2008. So quite a gap between his debut movies and this film. And this is a very, very different kind of movie. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nobody does crime thrillers like the Koreans. This guy was actually born in America, but he went to study film in Korea and spent his life in Korea. Korean thrillers are just fantastic, and this is no exception. The suspense in this film is incredible, wrapped up, and not in a corny, silly way, just really cleverly done. But what's great about this film is that once again, the Korean directors blend drama, suspense, great cinematography and kind of look and feel of a movie, and really kind of technically beautiful. It's set in a dystopian future, so there's a lot of backdrop of wastelands and burnt out cars and people, you know, living in this dystopian kind of future. But the film's got a really kind of cool charm about it. The story of three young guys who basically want to escape from this hell to another world, a beach paradise, and they plan a heist, and guess what, it goes wrong. I mean, no spoiler there, but what's great about this film is that you really get to know the characters, you get to know their vulnerability, you get to know their friendship, and it's just beautiful. It's just like one of those films that has got so much going on, as I say every week, but they're the sort of films that I love. Gun battles in this are fantastic, very exhilarating. I absolutely hated the ending, but I think that's just because they want to do a sequel, probably. But, oh yeah, I would recommend A Time to Hunt. Now I'm getting passionate about it. Maybe it will make my top 25 after all. So I realised that I hadn't seen Terrence Malick's new film, A Hidden Life, to my shame. But luckily for me, it's released in the UK this year. It's an American Blu-ray release. Not a UK Blu-ray, but it's on iTunes in 4K, and if you're going to watch a Terrence Malick film, to watch it in 4K is a very, very good idea. I do have a strange relationship with Terrence Malick's movies, though, kind of a love-hate relationship. I mean, I don't like films like To the Wonder, Night of Cups, Song to Song, not for me. But films like Thin Red Line, Tree of Life, which is actually my favourite film of all time, New World, Days of Heaven, those films to me are a whole another level of movie making, their own genre, if you can call it a Malick genre. Just spellbinding. And Hidden Life is in that category. Hidden Life is the same similar sort of filmmaking style as those movies. Like it's his best film for a very long time. The problem with Terrence Malick, to explain Terrence Malick films, is very, very hard, because I understand that a lot of people find his movies to be very slow and pretentious and just difficult. But to me, they are close to perfection. as I started watching this film, my brain was telling me this film's going to be in my top 5 this year, just out of respect, just for the framing, for the cinematography. But what's great about this film, it's got a really, really, really good story as well, and a human drama, and it's just a very, very difficult film. The subject matter is very difficult, and I'm not going to go into that actually, because I do like people to go in blind when they watch films. But I will say that if you've seen Martin Scorsese's Silence, it is a similar film, and I think I feel like the two directors have had a conversation. It's about Terrence Malick's faith, I believe, in his Christian faith, and to bare your soul and put that onto celluloid is pretty amazing. And I found myself seeing this as an almost religious experience, because to me it felt like I was being taken along his journey, and the more I talk about it, the more pretentious I'm going to sound, and I'll probably start crying and all that kind of stuff, so let's just stop there. But it is unbelievable. It's a fantastic film. It's not my best film of the year, I don't think. Maybe I changed my mind. Very courageous film. Performances are absolutely incredible. Lots of swishy long grass, as expected. So if you're a Terrence Malick fan, you haven't seen this, I would be gobsmacked. But if you haven't caught it yet, because you're waiting for maybe the Blu-ray release or whatever in the UK, I would just go and get it on iTunes and watch it urgently. So, Polish film, directed by Jan Komasa, from 2019, called Corpus Christi, which was a very surprising movie. A very, very good movie. A charismatic performance by the lead actor. A fascinating story about a young man who leaves a juvenile centre and pretends to be a priest. Sounds crazy, but I believe it was based on a true story. And it was just a film about, obviously, his faith. Another film about Christianity this week, which is interesting. Forgiveness. It challenged the viewer, I think, to decide what would you do if you were in his situation. The story would be really, really, really far-fetched. It wasn't based on real events, that's for sure. But it was interesting to see that, it was a story about how criminals can be more human than, I was going to say normal people, but you know what I mean. The story didn't sag at all. I thought the lighting was beautiful, and I thought once again, you have these movies where the technical aspects of the movie elevate the film, because there's so many films that you watch where you got your story, you got your plot, you got your characters, it's all great, but you don't really notice any kind of unusual shots or any beautiful cinematography. But this film had that in spades, and it definitely raised the film to a whole nother level. And a film that I came across purely because I found it on someone's top 10 list, someone that I respect put on their top 10, so I thought I'm going to give it a go, and I'm glad I did. Didn't make my top 10 or my top 20, but a really good solid movie. Relic from 2020, directed by Natalie Erica James, another female director doing horror. You've got Saint Maud, you've got The Lodge, or that was a duo. This is a great debut. Half an hour in, I was thinking to myself, this is a standard horror film. I know where this is going. And then I realised, penny dropped, that this, because again, I go into films completely blind. I then realised the film is about dementia. And I was like, wow, this is really brave. She's tackling a subject like dementia and old age via the genre of horror. What a very brave and fantastic idea. And she absolutely nailed it. I think that it has got some scary scenes in it, some jump scares. It's very unsettling and frightening in parts. And the film is slow, and I can see some people wouldn't like that, might find it boring. The third act, though, does ramp it up quite considerably, and the suspense is pretty cool, very good. But I think that, to be honest, this movie to me was just such a, as I said before, such a brave film. The ending is fantastic, and I think it's very respectful. And I think the director's obviously had someone in her family who suffered from dementia, so she's written this out of or directed this out of respect for that and to raise awareness of the illness. And I think, you know, it just blew me away. Like a horror film to raise awareness of a disease is I don't think I can't think it's been done before. I'm sure there'll be one about COVID at some point, but it was an emotional movie. It was just you know, one of those films that definitely grew on me. As I said, I was half an hour in and I was kind of thinking, oh, it's going to be about like, the old woman's going to be demon possessed or whatever, something going to turn into a monster or whatever. But that was not the case, and the atmosphere was created, was great, and the house, being most of the film was set in a house with labyrinth kind of corridors, and yeah, really clever. So I watched A White Day, a film from Iceland, 2019. Don't recall watching any Icelandic films, so this was definitely one I was looking forward to, and it didn't disappoint me. It was a movie that was about a theme that we've seen many times, grief, but it also had 2 or 3 other elements that made it really interesting for me. The first one was that it depicted a relationship between a widower and his granddaughter, and that was very charming and very interesting, I thought. And also the film was set firmly in art house territory, so we had quite a lot of clever editing, and continuity of the scenes was very cool, in that the scenes didn't really follow as expected. The director would leave you a little bit like uncertain of what happened next, and would also add a lot of confusion to the plot, which did frustrate, but also to me made it very interesting. It's one of those films that is quite hard to review because it is such a lot going on again, and I think that the film was disorientating you a little bit and trying to present a sense of loss and confusion, which kind of affects your perception a little bit. Starting to sound a bit pretentious now, but it was a very original and unusual movie, and I liked it a lot. So yeah, I would recommend that you watch A White Day. It didn't make my top 10 or my top 20 or my top 17, whatever, but once again, it came close. I think that's it, guys. I'm going to do my top 10, 20, whatever it's going to be next week, I think, after Christmas. So thanks for joining me on my journey this year. It's been obviously an awful year for everyone, including myself, for all the COVID stuff. But with film-wise, it's been a fantastic year. I've been able to watch so many movies, which I wouldn't normally be able to watch, and really broaden my horizons. I've been connecting with some great YouTubers who have really helped me this year. People like Tyler from the Movie Beat with the Korean movies that he's recommended, Hus from A Touch of Film with his Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Taiwanese, all things East Asian, Dion Win with his art house and independent cinema that he loves, and Carl Hobday from Into the Blue, who's sort of he seems to pick up the rest of the films, really films that no one's ever heard of but are really good. So that's been absolutely fascinating. So thank you guys for welcoming me into your world, and it's been a fantastic experience for me, and I look forward to continuing it in the new year.